I gotta tell you guys, I'm a little nervous.
Last one.
But it has nothing to do with what's going on in here, and everything to do with what's going on out there. Society is getting more polarized. People are fearing each other more. White supremacy is on the rise all across Western Europe and the United States. In other areas, we see problems with terrorism and so on. And us, as a corporation, this is something we need to have a hand in. In Hearts Too Young for Enmity, there lies the way to make men free. I think it starts with our youth, and that's what we're going to help you guys with today. We're partnering with Hosteling International to promote the education of all young people of all nations, but especially with limited means by encouraging in them a greater knowledge, love, and care for all parts of the world. Who stayed in the hostel? That image. That's wonderful. Well, children nowadays who are stuck to their phones and stuck to their computers are losing the ability to connect with others. We're going to bring it back. We're partnering with Hosteling. We're going to support their programs of bringing kids out into the countryside, get them involved in the community, but get them involved with each other. Bring them back to that point of practicing personal interaction. This is our team. You all know us because we all work together. This is Alchemy, and we're happy to present to you guys today.
We are working right now in Germany, and we are benefiting. And why Germany? Apart from being one of the most advanced countries in the world and most stable countries, and being the fourth largest economy and ranking like very down and in the corruption index, Germany is very crucial for us because this is where Hosteling International was founded, and it has a great presence over there. And through Germany, we can expand and scale ourselves to Europe and then to the rest of other parts of the world. Next, please. So let's go over to the geopolitical and landscape and politics. Chancellor Angela Merkel, one of the most powerful women in the world, she has decided to contest for the 4th term in 2017. And this is a very welcoming step for corporations, and so there's a very good corporate-friendly political environment, and there's a very success-conducive work culture over there. Labor unions have a lot of power over there, and the taxes are high. But this and ease of doing business, Germany ranks about 14th in the world. And but sometimes this ease of doing business is affected by the bureaucracy over there. But still, it's a very good environment to work. And we have the latest issue, Russia and Ukraine crisis going on. So Germany believes that it has supported sanctions on Russia, but it does not want any political problem to turn into a military action. And it's against any military action right now. And obviously the Greek bailout is affecting all the European Union. So over to
okay. So these are the 4 folks that we interviewed today, so kind of to the left of the slide. So we interviewed Stefan, who works for Accenture as a senior manager, Hani Geist, who works for the German Academic Exchange Program, or DAD. She's an information officer. And we also interviewed Sophia Fuchel, a BMW IT manager. And then we also interviewed Stephanie Botcher, Ministry of Finance. And we kind of talked to them about our idea and seeing how we could better mitigate any of these types of issues that we have. And they some of them pointed us to a few folks, which actually Nick knows too as well, as kind of Russell Hedges is the CEO of Hosteling International, and he would be a good asset for our tech company Alchemy Industries to work with. And in addition to, since Russell Hedges is more in the US side, he would be able to connect us to the folks up in Germany. And one of those people is Kai Michael Steibel. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. And he works for the German Hostel Association. So he's kind of has like a bridge bracket that kind of oversees all these folks. And when we kind of do like a stakeholders analysis on who our main stakeholders are, We think about the government, so we want the government to be more informed. They have the power, but they have kind of low interest. And we want we want Russell and Kai to be someone that we are involved and we manage closely in terms of this. And then obviously the youth that we will talk to and interact with and their families, we want them to have somewhat of a medium power and of high interest in that scope.
So the good example of a corporate foundation in Germany is BMW Foundation. So BMW Foundation is a corporate foundation which is supported by the BMW, and it was established in the 1970s. They have several key areas like this. Through these kind of activities, they try to break down the barriers between politics, business, and civil society. And also they allow society to benefit from the creativity and diversity which result from the cross-sector collaboration. Also, they work with the BMW to make their commitment more effective. So BMW has the opportunity to make the real impact for the next generation. So I think this example is a good to support our case.
An old man going along highway came to a chasm deep and grey. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fear for him. But he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you are wasting your strength in building here. Your journey will end with the close of the day. You will never again pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build the bridge to the other side?" The builder lifted his old grey head.
"Good friend, in the path I have come,"
he said.
"There have followed me after today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been not to me, to that fair lad may a pitfall be. He too may cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building that bridge to him." Hosteling was created in 1904 in order to bring kids out into the world. We have never needed that so much as we do again today. And as they match our mission, we, Alchemy, can partner with them, have a phenomenal corporate diplomacy structure. We can support them, we can support the youth of Germany where they began, and we can head out into the world where they're in 80 different countries. And obviously we're in every region of the world. So the partnership can begin in Germany, but move out from there. So what we're asking is for you to join us. We'll continue on this journey, and let's build that bridge. Thank you.
So my question is, as I understand that you want to bring in children, and they should have understanding of cross culture. I believe personally, that internet and things like WhatsApp and all, they have brought culture more together than any time in the history. But now, when it comes to your youth hosting, the kind of infrastructure that you would require to build up in today's world would be immense, and the cost would be immense. Why not go in a Airbnb style
I think you may have missed the point a little bit. Hostels are already around. So the 80 countries, they're already in 80 countries. There's 4,500 hostels. We're going to help support them in all these areas with their outreach programs of bringing in kids. They bring in students around the world to backpack and hike and meet other youth from other nations. But they also host people who are working on local charity projects. They get involved with whatever's going on in the local community. They try to push, particularly for youth in inner cities and stuff, to try to get to the countryside, which is this extra little piece. And what we want to do is not only support what their mission is already doing, but we want to add to that in pushing this feeling of it's okay to play with the phones and everything. We're a tech company, we love it. But we also want the children to be able to put down the phone and reconnect with people. So this is very cheap. We're not trying to build a new structure. And Airbnb was actually modeled off of Hosteling. Hosteling was started in 1904. Rotary was started in 1905. The guys, Richard Sherman and this guy, were friends. Airbnb, which came later, they had talked about hosteling early on and the idea of staying with other people versus the VRBO model where you just rent the house. So very cheap.
Just curious, how many students do they support what at the time?
So some of the research that we kind of found in one particular hostel that we looked at, I forgot what the name was. It was the original hostel that we.
Castle Altina.
Yes.
In German.
And that usually throughout in like a week was about 1,000 people kind of filtered in and out of the location. That's not staying at that location. That's just kind of filtering in, hanging out, meeting people, and then because usually at these hostels they're kind of common grounds where folks can just go and actually just start a tour, right? And they can join in on that tour. They don't necessarily have to stay at these locations. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see that data and kind of.
And I'll add one quick point to that. In Europe, this is a big thing. There's 300 already in China, and that's only the last few years. In the US, we only have 65 because it hasn't caught on with our youth in the way it did 20, 30 years ago, which is really too bad. But there are 3 in this city. One is up in Fort Mason. And if you go to any of these 3, walk in, they lead the way in having cheap alternatives to go out and meet people and do things. You can go for dinner there Thursday night, $30 pasta. You can go out on you can go bar hopping. They have all the different activities. So it's youth to teenagers to whatever else. It's not big in this country, which is too bad, and we'd like to get there later, but we felt we needed to focus on Western Europe. So we want to start with Germany, where it was created, and then ripple out from there.
Can you explain how this initiative is aligned with your strategic objectives as an IT company?
Sure. We didn't want to say Google, but Alchemy is like Google. We're looking at not only doing our own stuff, but we have that 20%. And one of our guys came up with the 20% idea that not only do we want to send balloons up in the air and add internet and stuff, we're also trying to look for the greater good. We're also trying to impact humanity. And although, in one hand, it's funny to try to help kids put down the phones, on the other hand, a lot of these kids are our future employees. And if they can't, in 10 years, be able to work with the programming department, to the sales department, to the marketing department, if they can't communicate, they're not going to do a good job for us. And as we head into these geopolitical issues, where in the US alone, since Obama took office, people have realized how racist they are, some people, and the KKK has not quadrupled in size, but 10 times the size. Some of this is simply because people are siloed now. We've allowed ourselves to be siloed. The Facebook like algorithm is a terrible thing. But you start to hear what you believe, and then you're backed and you're supported and you see that same thing. This kind of thing, where you get kids out to do real things again, go back out and get your hands dirty, play on a tire swing, that kind of thing. We need that because that's who's going to help lead our country someday.
So it's an investment in the future.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
cross-functional
plant.
leaders.
We are planting a plant.
And when you think about it, when you kind of think about when you build something, when you make something like for a consumer to use, and just like think of it in a video game world, right? You know, now that we're trying to commodify everything, the way we think of it is we should make it fun and then figure out a way to engage and make money off that product later down the road. So we could be aligning ourselves in terms of getting users information and then somehow figuring out a way to commodify that later.
Do you guys have a feeling for the tendencies in the German society towards US businesses?
Yeah, it's tough. But that's why we're partnering with a German brand that they love. This is a treasured German brand. Hosteling was the first organization after World War II that was allowed to assemble more than 3 or 4 people at a time. Legally, you could not have more than 3 or 4 people in a room right after World War II. But Eisenhower gave Sherman and the Smiths, the American leaders of the youth hostel here, they gave them permission to go around the country and rebuild the hostels before the Boy Scouts or anything else, because of how proud they were of that institution and how much good they believed it could do. And that's still a trigger in that society. And so I know you're German, but so I'm not going to argue with you, but I think you know what?
I just
Well, I
asked
know,
a question.
right? I feel funny telling you about how your culture feels about it, but I mean, it's a big, it's something that they're very proud of, and because we're a San Francisco Tech Valley, Google type alchemy, we need to partner.